History of Stupa and Monastery. The stupa, as it is called today, is derived from the Prakrit word tupa, meaning sepulchral mound. It was erected by the Buddhist either to enshrine a relic or to commemorate some sacred site. It stands alone in the history of architecture as a structure into which one cannot enter. It is a solid, beautiful, and enlarged funeral mound. It was generally believed that it was the creation of the Buddhist. In the Mahaparinibbana Sutanta, Buddha enjoins Ananda, one of his foremost disciples, to erect at the crossing of four highways a stupa over the remains of his body after it has been burnt on the funeral pyre, in the same manner as the stupa of a universal monarch. It is therefore clear that the custom of rearing stupas was pre-Buddhist. The Jainas also erected this form of memorial in early times, but it is the Buddhists who particularly selected and adapted it to their own use. In course of time, it acquired a special Buddhistic association as containing a relic of the Buddha or of his chief disciples, and as making a spot associated with some important event in his life or in the history of Buddhism, as enshrining relics symbolizing the Buddha himself. A devotional aspect was also implicit from the very beginning, and stupas were set up as votive objects in sanctuaries known as chaitya halls. The earliest Indian stupas were of unburned bricks, like the famous Bharat stupa. Even the great stupa of Sanchi was originally of this type. A casing of roughly trimmed masonry and a ramp forming an upper procession path was added later. As the time went on, the originally hemispherical dome was raised on a high drum or tier of drums, so the ancient model was transformed first into a high tower after the type of Kanishka stupa at Peshawar described by Huan Sang, and ultimately into the Chinese pagoda. The most ancient stupas were very plain, but they were usually surrounded by a stone railing, sometimes square in plane, but more often circular, marking off a procession path for the use of worshippers and serving as a defense against evil spirits. The earliest examples of such railings at Sanchi are unadorned copies of wooden post and rail fences. The bars of the railing were lenticular in section, inserted in the post. At Besnagar in India, another form of ancient railing was unearthed, consisting of oblong slabs held by grooved uprights. Bharat and Sanchi are the examples of the early period which reveal the stages in the development of the stupa architecture. The different parts of these stupas became more ornate, and sculptural decoration was attached to every member of the railing, to the post rails and coping. Late in the 2nd century of the Christian era at Amravati, the railing was transformed into a screen covered with stone pictures in comparatively low relief, which show the use of the stupas as a symbol of parinirvana. But with the richest effect, the gateways were added through which the worshipper used to pass to reach the procession path inside the railing. These gateways, copied from wooden models, were embellished with sculptures. The best examples of such gateways are those at Sanchi. The origin of the stupa lies in primitive burial ceremonies, for they are primarily tombs like the Iron Age cairns of the south and such tumuli as those excavated by Bloch near Nandangarh in India. Originally, they were mounds of earth, and the earliest stupas existing were of unbaked brick and hemispherical in shape. Their main purpose was to enshrine the relics, but in later times they acquired a symbolical value, and many cenotaphs were built. The dedication of miniature stupas of stone or clay to the great shrines became customary. It was not necessary that they should contain the relics, but their symbolic value increased, and their construction was considered as an act of merit. Ashoka has built thousands of stupas all over the country, and their worship is attributed to him. Fazyan informs us that it was a custom to raise stupas to Madgala Putra, Sariputra and Ananda, as well as in honor of the Abhidharma, Vinaya and Sutra. Such stupas in fact were regarded as altars. The word Chaitya is indeed often used where a stupa is intended in the sense of a shrine or a holy place. Anathapindika had built Sariputra's Chaitya. It was 4 stories high, decreasing in size, contained a relic vase surmounted by a roof and many umbrellas.